What up, what up? I am, and today we're going to be going over the spot Trolls here in Calpheon Elvia. If you don't know where that is, well, here it is. Look, on the map, on the things. Yeah, here. We're going here. This place is actually pretty sick, to be honest. It's like a mini Olin's. First, we're going to talk about the gear requirements. You are going to need at least 289 AP and 391 DP. Why, you ask, the heavy amount on the DP? Well, they hit hella hard. I could still die here. Now, to go into elixirs, crystals, and buffs. At first, it would be wise to start out with a full elixir rotation, and then eventually you're going to taper yourself off to the corrupted frenzy and normal frenzy drafts. Then when you go hella good, you can go with giants draft. Frenzies just simply help a little bit more sustainability and survivability, while the giants give you a bit more damage. Of course, you're going to want your exquisite crown meal, 10 buff, church buffs, of course, standard. These mobs do have a decent amount of evasion, so if you find yourself missing, make sure to use an accuracy furniture buff. And if not, you can use the AP version. Crocodile horse buffs are, of course, very nice here. Using Vel is a given, or if you find you need a little bit more regen, you could also use Perla Star. This is a very underrated item, but Perla Star is very nice, especially if you can maintain that 289 AP. For perfumes, you can use a Calx Elixir or the Perfume of Courage. Eventually, as you get more gear, you can taper off these and not use them. Next, crystals. Well, you don't have to worry about CCs, which is hella nice here. This allows you to cater a lot to just doing damage. You're going to want to use 2 Bond or Jinn Vipers for the accuracy, along with 2 Elcars. 2 Dark Red Fangs, 2 Corrupted, and 4 Damage Crystals, usually the Ancient Magical Power. If you have your Grandmother Heart in your Waking, you can also do 2 Akrods and eventually upgrade them to Glorious. Now for your artifacts and lightstones. If your class needs accuracy, definitely go with your accuracy modifier for your artifact. If not, then get more damage. Hell yeah. Now if you want to be more defensive, you could go with your DR artifacts, and you could also go with evasion artifacts, though I think it's not really worth that, trolls. This place, like Olin's, is more about learning simply the animations and avoiding the damage. Next, your lightstones. If your class is able to keep up 100% crit time, use Vicious Shadows, as this will be your best option for special modifiers. You're going to be getting a lot of back attacks and crits. If your class needs that extra little percentage in crit, you're going to want to use Death Blow. This way you can have more damage output and consistency. Now if you do decide to go the survivability route, you can do 4 set Iron Walls for DR, and for Blur.
What?
Blur. For evasion, you can go Blur. English can be rough, you know, sometimes. Now with all that out of the way, we can start the grind. There are a bunch of different rotations here, so take your pick. This area is huge. I actually usually don't see too many people around here nowadays because it's not as good as, say, going to Hex Sanctuary. I'm going to show you guys the one I prefer. I like this one. Each rotation consists of 2 large trolls surrounded by 3 mini ones. You will always be going back and forth between these 2 trolls per rotation. Even with an Elvia weapon, their respawn rate is so high, you're not overclearing this. Okay, on the extreme unlikely off chance that you do, you would have to extend to a 3rd troll. Hopefully somewhere near you. And speaking of boss, real quick, if you do get an Elvia boss spawn, nothing changes. You do the rotation as normal, and the boss will simply follow you around and DPS them as you kill the trolls. Do watch yourself, though. They do a shit ton of damage. Now back to explaining. First, approach one of the larger trolls and erase the 3 smaller ones around it. If you have an aggro skill, definitely use it to put them together to DPS them more efficiently. What this is going to do is actually wake the big guy up. He functions a little bit like the underground guy from Raussia mobs, and he has a DP debuff initially. If you've grinded there before, you know what to do. Set up all your pre-buffs and skills and get them all set to do max damage. Make sure to stay behind him at all times and DPS him down as fast as possible. Once you get him to around 50%, you'll notice his face hits dirt real fast. This is the start of the 2nd phase of this area for this grind. Now you will notice around you there's a bunch of frozen trolls that are waking up. However, there will be one that will never wake up, and it will always be a shaman. There's 1 shaman per big troll in every rotation. And don't worry, they don't move around. They will be at the exact same spot every time. The best way to be efficient about this is to stand on the opposite side of the shaman to the boss. Meaning if your troll is on the left side, you want to stand on the right side of your shaman. While you're there, get that shaman down to as low as possible. Usually around 20% is a good marker. All the little guys are approaching you. Don't run though. Don't be a... Yes. For max efficiently, hold out as much as possible to get all the little guys to stack on top of that shaman in a very condensed way. You guessed it, trolls is a pull efficiency spot. The better you pull, the better your trash will be. Now that you have them all condensed, finish off the shaman that you lowered earlier. You'll notice they will freeze, and this will allow you to easily DPS them down. Cool little tidbit about this, by the way, this freezing effect also applies to Elvia bosses. You know those big red circles? If you get one, you can use it on them as well. Now you notice the big guy in the back has gotten back up and he's starting to approach you. But don't leave from that side of the troll yet. Make sure to start DPSing the trolls you have frozen on the ground. The idea is to draw the boss in as much as possible to your condensed little guy pack. When he approaches and starts a new animation, then you can go behind him and start to DPS every single one of the trolls that are there. It's going to be massive damage. Good job on your pull if you did well. Now, as I said before, a lot of his animations are going to look scary and look like they're going to be like 360s, but stay behind him and you won't have very much to worry about. However, there is one exception to this rule. The large guy will do a little shout and he will actually put 3 rippled red AoE effects on the ground. This is the most dangerous attack you can probably do. If you are new here, I recommend just running outside the circles for now and wait, because there is a little bit of a lingering effect. Now, if you want to test your limits and stay in the AoE, we can do that as well. Stand in the very center circle right on top of it. Then Q block, S block, and also forward guard skills will work very well for this. With this, after the skill goes, do wait a couple of seconds because there is that linger, and then you can continue DPS mid-animation. This will in most cases wreck that block though, so do be careful and be mindful of that just in case he does them back to back. Now all that's left for you to do is completely DPS down the large troll, and then you can move to the next. After that, it is simply a repeat of process. You will notice that the main large trolls can actually spawn as 2 different variants. They will be one of the soldiers, or they can be also a shaman. Their animations differ slightly, but the same concept applies to both in terms of staying behind them and the AoE on the ground. A little benchmark you can use, you remember that little shaman that you destroyed in order to freeze the mobs? Well, if he spawns back at any point in time while you're trying to finish off the big guy, that means you're moving a little slow. It's good to use this because if you start out slower and then you improve, then hell yeah, right? Like I said before, these guys do have a really fast respawn rate, so don't worry about possibly running out of mobs. Not a chance. Now, as for the value of the spot, you can get your good amount of blackstones here. The trash individually is worth around, what, 96, 7,500, I believe. You do get a decent amount of despairs here for your enhanced alchemy stone, along with a possible chance at the blessed fragment to get the full piece. If you get it, you're hella boosted. And of course, being Elvia, the occasional mass of pure magic. You want to aim for over 2k on a blue loot scroll, and Agris can be decently efficient here because you're not killing too many mobs, so if you want to use that for a little bit extra change, you can as well. Personally, I don't really do it if you just don't use your Agris often. And that is everything you need to know about trolls. Solid. The spot isn't as mechanically intensive as a lot of people initially think, but it is a lot of fun, and I do enjoy coming here from time to time just because I do like the spot. It's actually a nice little switch up as well if you want to bring a friend here. Do party leader loot only and have fun. You know, switch it up so you don't have to keep going to like Hex or Sonos or something. If you guys did like the video and you found it helpful and useful to you on your grind, make sure to like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out, and I would hella appreciate it. I hope you all have a solid day. Until the next video, Crimson out.